people use the term, like, it's okay if you believe that way, but I don't. You know, but it's not. For me, it's not a set of beliefs. Like, it's who I am, and I don't like the feeling of being minimized to this set of beliefs or this issue. Because the issue is that people don't accept me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the issue, and I don't like feeling like I'm this issue. I'm being called in this direction as a minister, but also my sexuality is also a part of me, and like that's a part of me, and why shouldn't they just go together?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, why does it have to be this conflict? Part of becoming a whole person is coming out for me, and I wasn't quite sure what that would mean for the rest of me becoming a whole person. And that was the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't anything like other people experience.
I feel like my whole adult life, I've been open in all kinds of relationships, and just loving and caring and respect for people no matter who they are and stuff. So it didn't seem like a big stretch when you started being more open or verbal about your sexuality.
I really hadn't attempted to define anything. I don't think I had created an image of what I anticipated your relationships were going to be like.
My first feeling when I knew that she was coming out was one of pride. I was so proud of her for doing that. I knew that it was a really difficult decision, and I hoped that you knew what you were getting yourself into. And I think you did, up to a point.
Yes.
And I could see, things happening in the future that would be so difficult for you, and it made me, I was afraid for you, and I was angry too that you would have to face some of these things.
Youth Sunday, you announced to the entire church that you were called to ministry and you were going into ministry, and we were just sort of sitting there, oh. But anyway, that went into the licensing process and got licensed then. And 5 years later, when you came out to the district ministry committee and lost your license, and even though they 100% agreed that you had gifts to ministry and should pursue your work towards that means, they couldn't relicense you.
I was pretty devastated, and all I could think was, I need to be at church on Sunday. I think I opened the letter on Friday, and I was like, I need to be at church. I need to be at Beacon Heights. As soon as I walked in, I mean, I was crying, and I knew that I could be sad, and I could be here and be loved. And I remember I was actually sitting in the front pew, I think, with Deb, because my parents were in the choir, and Deb was just holding my hand the whole service.
We felt a bit at Beacon Heights like the rug was jerked out from underneath us when the second anniversary came around for her to then apply again for the licensing, and this time she came out as being a gay child of God. I think it was such a shock to all of us to know that here is one that is so called and so talented in God's world, but yet the rules and polity of the Church of the Brethren said no.
Even though our congregation disagreed with that decision, well, we were willing to stand up and say, no, that's not right, and so we appealed it. And I believe that we will continue to do what we can to say that was the wrong decision.
To come out and then get rejected so clearly really opened some people's eyes in a new way. And so I think Beacon Heights really rose to the task. And those who maybe were wrestling with how to be public suddenly said, wait a minute, we got to be public, and stopped dragging their feet in that conversation.
It's important to expect the church to be publicly affirming and to live and to do church like the church is publicly affirming.
It was interesting that it happened that the coming together of the welcoming and proclaiming to the world who we are as an open and affirming church happened at the same time that the district ministry committee decided not to renew Carrie's license. So we were celebrating our newfound commitment and mourning the change in Carrie's ministry opportunities at the same time.
For any parent, I would think when a child's preparing for a career and feels a call towards that work and service and meaning, and then to just have someone say, no, you can't do it just because of a personal characteristic of who you are, or something that was just difficult.
Hurtful to, obviously, mostly because it was such an obstacle to you, or proposes to be an obstacle to you, but it's hurtful to us, who have been involved in the church for all our lives, to feel this level of rejection.
Your desire to stay within the church is really respectable and can be really wonderful and inspiring. And yet some days I want to tell you to run away. I want to tell you to go someplace that's going to fully celebrate who you are. And I would grieve that, and I don't want you to leave the church. But I don't think the church deserves to have you in it if they're not going to celebrate who you are.
I see what the church can be, and that's my hope for the rest of the denomination. We're a place where gays and lesbians can be accepted and appreciated, and held up for their gifts.
So much creative leadership out there, I think, in the churches now that is just ready to embrace this as part of who we are. Maybe not moving away from it, just embracing it and just keep moving forward. And that's just really lightens my heart.
At least 10%, I would say, in this congregation are gays and lesbians, and out and open about that. And so it becomes just a part of the regular working of who has gifts for this, and everybody's fit in and remembered in that process.
I think that's important. In a church, just to be yourself and to be whole, and not to have one part of you tokenized.
The best job I could do was being your dad, holding you when you needed to be held, and do the things that our family has done together forever, taking care of one another.
It's been neat for me to see, our families kind of gathering around the larger family, to say nothing, all kinds of friends and stuff too, and certainly church family, and I don't know, it's just like a sense of hopefulness and lightness that, there's all these people are just gathering around my precious daughter and supporting her and lifting her up.
I really value our family a lot more now. Like, I know that this is a place where, you know, I don't have to apologize for who I am. I'm out to everybody now, and that feels, I mean, it feels like I'm not keeping a secret anymore. And I can be loved.
It's clear to all of us here that Carrie is a child of God who has the Spirit and the love in her to share. We can't hold that back. Safe trip.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
It shall forever